All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Jujutsu Kaisen, Season 1, Episode 6.
All right, internal world time. Sukuna is like, hey, brat, what are you doing in here? Get this is my space.
Right.
You're dead. Let's move on.
What
already.
are you doing with MySpace? I mean, no one uses that anymore.
Yeah,
Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we also got some outer world developments and such. People talking about overthrowing Jujutsu Sorcerer Society and that there were 2 conditions in particular that needed to be fulfilled.
Yeah, and this is interesting because it's a sorcerer that's talking with a curse, well, a few of them, but specifically one that's wanting to know, like, okay, if we went to war, how could we even have a chance, really? It's like, well, here's the problem. There's this guy known as the strongest sorcerer.
Yeah, he's really handsome but really powerful as well.
Strong, you know?
Get rid of him
somehow. You
somehow.
have to render him incapable of fighting.
However you do it, whatever that means, make sure he doesn't ruin your day.
I just love the openness of it.
Right.
Take Gojo Satoru and put him somewhere else, you know? Or, kill him if you can. And then the other side of this is you need to take Yuji and Sukuna and put them on your side, not render them incapable of fighting. The idea, though, that because Sukuna and Yuji have this relationship, which we're getting into probably this episode a little bit more, they need to be turned to your side, which is probably only possible because Sukuna is involved.
Right, yeah, and only really means anything because Sukuna's involved.
Exactly,
Get us to have the strongest piece and make it so that they don't have the strongest piece. And then there you go.
Right, but the fact that Yuji is mentioned at all.
Yeah, that is kind of curious.
That is very curious.
Because I understand getting Sukuna on their side.
Right, the idea of him having full dominion over Yuji's body.
Getting Yuji on their side. Hey, if they actually try and work that angle, mad props. And if you make any progress, then I will be very impressed.
First things first would be isolation.
Yes, so make a mall at a shopping center, make sure it has a grand reopening, subtly slip a flyer.
That's how we deal with Gojo.
No, I know. That's the first step.
Right. I'm just talking about Yuji right now.
Yeah.
Gojo, that's his own problem. You can figure out what universe that actually works out in, because apparently he is the fucking strong, you know? But with regards to Yuji, he's already lost his family.
Yeah.
So that's one step down. But he is making new friends now.
And
so I'm worried about them.
Well, and especially if one of the new friends is Sukuna, because last episode left off with them about to have a conversation.
Yeah. Let's see how that conversation goes first. But y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, let's go in. Let's go in. Ugh. Literally inside his ribcage. Oh. Okay.
All right, that's a start. I gotta say, I like the energy you're bringing to this Yuji. Nice and assertive.
Yeah. We don't know what they're both capable inside of this, this space, No.
But Sukuna, take advantage of this fact that Yuji came alone. Because
what do you mean he came alone? Of course he's alone.
If Panda was here,
what?
Have no chance.
Okay, that was weak. You can come up with some really good Panda jokes right there. Okay. Like, look at this. Like, there's potentially 2 pandas. Have you thought of that?
See, it was you have 2 conditions you must fulfill. Get Sukuna and Yuji on your side. The second, render Panda incapable of fighting.
Incapable of fighting. He's too damn cute.
Yes.
All he needs to do is just start an Instagram and he'll get the whole world on his side.
Just see him, wait. Hold on.
Like, all you guys need to do is abandon all your fear and hatred and love Panda. And then all the curses will have all their power stripped away.
Who can fight with
Who can fight against the fluff?
Yeah.
Exactly. What kind of poof?
You ripped out my heart.
Yeah. It's like, you little bitch. That was my throne. I liked that place. I'm already dead. You can't threaten me with anything.
Right.
Oh.
Oh.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Ah! Sound!
I love the contrast with the seriousness and the comedy.
My innate domain. Oh no.
Yeah, that question.
He could hurt
How
you.
are we here?
Whoa.
Okay. Oh shit.
Whoa. He's like, oh god.
Really?
He's like,
And not keep anyone else from, you know, like indirectly kill or injure?
yes, nice.
Alright.
Oh, really?
Okay, I like it. I like it.
So all strong jujutsu sorcerers made some kind of pact with a curse.
Is
to
this
gain
a
power?
Is this a one-time, like, ever situation?
Probably. That was a bitch move.
Wow.
Yeah. Easy.
Uh-huh.
0 shot. Wow.
ユージのことでもわかる通り、上層部は呪術界の魔窟、古神バカ、世襲バカ、高慢バカ、ただのバカ、腐ったみかんのバーゲンセール。そんなクソ呪術界を
I'm gonna bring some change.
Got some big Suzaku energy, you know?
するのは簡単だ。でもそれじゃ首がすげ変わるだけで変革が起きない。だから僕は教育を選んだんだ。
Awesome.
Raise up those that can then replace them. But in order to do that, I need to be the strongest, so they do listen to me. Yeah. Okutsu was the one Fushiguro respects, like the one that he
I
respects.
believe so. Speak of the devil.
ユージ。おかえり。
Your dream is quite possible. I love that they're just having this bro moment. She's like, can you put the clothes on? Like, please.
Gojo Satoru. やはり我々が束になっても殺せんか。
ひらひら逃げられるか。最悪君たち全員現れる。
Damn.
Yeah.
殺すより封印することに心血を注ぐこと。
Gotcha. Gotcha. It's easier that way.
特級呪物、極門鏡を使う。
Prison realm.
Alright. Sounds
I
pretty
love
dope.
it.
全然注文しねえな。お客様、ご注文はお決まりです。
Oh my god.
I guess you made a good choice in getting out, bro.
これでいいだろう。
Oh my god.
少なの指何本分の強さだ。
甘く見積もって8、9本分ってとこかな。
Low estimate. Okay.
極門鏡をわしにくれ。その代わり五条悟はわしが殺す。
Shit.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
Well,
Okay.
all right. This is the kind of threat we're dealing with here.
Yep. But at the same time, bruh, subtlety. Come on,
No,
man.
no subtlety, I guess.
You were just told that.
Oh, what a guy, Fushiguro, yeah!
せめてこれを正しさんを助けられず申し訳ありませんでした。
いいの、謝らないで。あの子が死んで悲しむのは
Oh!
ですから。
Okay.
Wow.
So much. Wow, suddenly levity!
Yeah!
何してた？
Thank you.
いいでしょう。
面接対策みたいな質疑応答してんじゃんよ。5代、もう学ランはしんどい。
She getting spun around. Yeah.
Oh my god!
何してんですか？
Ah.
近接戦闘に関しては、ユージは
I love that this is their training, you know?
Right.
今覚えるべきは呪力のコントロール、そして呪術に関する最低限の知識だね。
Okay.
どうしたの？
So stupidly innocent.
修行つけてもらうならゴジョ先生がいいと思ってたから嬉しくて最強を教えてくれ。
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on, kid. That's my spot.
Yeah.
But I like your spirit.
Yeah, like your moxie.
ではまずあちらの缶ジュースをご覧ください。
Okay. Okay.
こっちが呪力で、こっちが術式。
なるほど。
Yes! Yes!
I love it.
こっちは呪力を術式に流して発動させた呪術でねじったの。
つまりこれからちょべりぐな術式を身につけると。
No.
いや
No,
ユー
no,
ジには呪術は使えないよ。簡単な式神とか結界術は別として、
Oh.
基本的に術式は生まれながら体に刻まれているもの。
Okay.
Oh.
だから呪術師の実力は才能がほぼ8割って感じなんだよね。
Damn.
ダメだこれ。レーガンとかバン
I'm buying every second! Yes! Ah, yes! I love it!
式が刻まれる。
Kamehameha!
I love it. I love it.
だけど肉弾戦の才能はピカイチだからね。
Oh.
でもそれなら俺もできるぜ。
起きろよ。
Yeah,
あの
yeah.
時なんとなくコツはつかんだ。
Ooh, a new track.
ここに打ち込んで。どうせできないから。
怪我しても死んないよ。
いいから早よ早よ。
Yeah, I'm blazing around, kid.
呪力の源は負の感情。君の言うあの時は怒りや恐怖に満ち溢れていた。
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
重力を使う時は常に打ち切れてなきゃいけねえのか。確かに伏黒もいつも気気味だったかも。
Yes!
I love it.
Yes! No, no, ignore that. Yeah.
どうした？
今とてもイラッと
Yes, yes, good. I love that gag. That is one of my favorite gags
Yep.
in anime.
Month and a half. Okay.
訓練方法はいくつかあるけど、ユージにはかなりしんどいものをやってもらうよ。
どんな？
映画鑑賞。
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
名作から C 級ホラー、地雷
To C grade horror films!
Hell yeah.
French movies!
もちろんただ見るだけじゃない
Oh
よ。
my god.
こいつと一緒に見るんだ。
何このキモ可愛い人形。
可愛いか。
He's like, this thing is horrifying. What are you talking about? It's asleep.
全然容量得ないんだけど。
Your emotions are gonna get infused into it, probably.
It's gonna be yeah.
その呪骸は一定の磁力を流し続けないと目を覚まして今みたいに襲ってくるよ。
I
Gotcha.
love it. And it'll just be constantly pissing him off.
Yep.
今は有事でも出せる程度の微弱な磁力に設定してあるけど、徐々に大きな出力を要求してくるから常に気を抜かないようにね。何から見る？これなんておすすめだよ。ヒロインがムカつくんだけど最後派手に死ぬ。
Why would you say that?
Yeah, major
そう
spoilers.
だな。最初はアクション。
There we go. That's the
イ
spirit.
ライラしても磁力は一定。
Oh my god.
I love
This is
it.
so meta. So funny.
わからんが、お前あの時
It's a cool way to have a flashback visually.
宝の持ち腐れだな。
あれは俺には特急に勝てる可能性があったと、そういう意味だったんだろうか。
But I mean, he does make.
ツナツナ。
あ、なんだよ。
先輩、なんとかなりそうです。
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Ah! Nobara!
裏腹ってどこよ。チコ。
Wait, what? Oh my god, the movie. Yes.
Yes.
そうよ、赤よ。普通赤。
I love it.
コーラ飲んでる時はやめろや。
じゃあ、僕は用事あるので、
Bye
は
bye.
調子で頑張ってね。
こんなんで強くなれんの？
No.
It's crazy entertaining for me.
死んでる時スクナと話したかい？
Yes.
話？心臓を治すにあたって条件とか契約を持ちかけられなかった？
And he forgot them.
Uh-huh.
なんか話した気がす
But I
るけ
can't
ど
remember.
思い出せねえんだよな。そうか。
Shit. He knows. He knows.
Yep. And I love that that was just casually thrown in at the very end.
Mhm.
You know, even though it's like the most important thing to bring up.
止めて。
ここでですか？
No.
Saki,
No
did
way.
これ何か試されてます？
Does he think Sukuna's gonna make a move now that he's left?
僕をなんだと？
Maybe.
では
I love how he's so scared of
Yeah.
how he's so scared of him. Oh.
さて、
Oh no, they're making a move on him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh shit.
All right.
Oh.
Get ready to get punked.
何も。
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Of course, you end the episode right there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we learned so much this
We
episode.
did.
Okay. All right. This was basically the world building episode. Post some big fights, and also going in depth into the Sukuna Yuji relationship, if you will. And the big thing about it that's kind of like, oh, okay, it's a good thing that we kind of have this clear here, is in the inner world, Yuji has zero power other than what he's willing to agree with Sukuna to do.
Yes, but
Sukuna can absolutely thrash him in any way, shape, or manner he wants.
Right, but the idea that that the agreement is important, like that for Sukuna as well, where it's no, it becomes a Gias. It's something where, hey, you have security in this. You know that if I violate the agreement, I get punished real bad.
Yep, exactly.
So you know, hey, we can come to a set of terms, right? I will definitely try and make it as good as I can for me. And the minute I love that, like he agreed the first time, but it was like, no, come on, I'm not actually agreeing. But the minute that he's like, okay, if you fight me, then sure, dead immediately. Can't backtrack on it or anything like that. It's like okay,
you
done.
made the agreement. That was it.
Yeah, our palms touched, metaphorically.
The deal
and
with the
instantly,
devil has been made.
Right.
The crossroads were met.
But
the lines were drawn.
Yeah, but as far as it goes, it seems pretty minimal.
The problem is that he does not have any knowledge that the agreement was made.
Right, no knowledge that it was made, and it's full control. Now, he said he wouldn't kill or injure anyone. That doesn't mean he couldn't restrain people or do all sorts of other things. Theoretically,
a minute.
A minute. If he was
insane.
able to, like, somehow, I don't know, I mean, I don't think he would be able to, but if he somehow was able to, like, overpower Gojo, he could hold him down while someone else cuts his head off. Right?
Well, like even go out just on a limb here of who cares about what he, like the worst thing he could do. In a minute, he can completely ruin Yuji's entire, like, reputation.
Oh,
he can end him as a person entirely. He does not need to kill or injure anyone in order to do anything like that.
Right, he just goes and strips and run through the streets in public.
Yeah, but that's like the basic kind of stuff of where that's a given.
Yeah.
And the other thing is there's no limit as to how many times he does this. Like,
that's what I'm not entirely sure about. I feel like because it was a simple, like a one thing of, okay, give me, like, my heart back, that it would be a one-time thing, but it was not specified.
It was not specified. I always think about these kinds of things in terms of a genie or a djinn kind of situation. If you leave it vaguely open in that regard, it goes to the unlimited capacity that you refuse to specify.
If you're going to make a deal with the devil, make sure that you draw up a very clear contract.
Boundary.
Yeah. Like this,
the outermost limits.
Legal speak and everything, of like, this is redeemable within the next set of this period.
Yeah, you can redeem this 1 time, 3 times, or something. But after that, we have no contractual obligations to each other at all.
Right.
The other thing that's really crazy about this is that Yuji, since he doesn't know this is going to be the case, he can just have Yuji abandon his friends at a critical moment.
Sure.
Let them die.
Yep.
Watch them die. Yep. Then, during that time, Yuji is going to be panicking because apparently he's aware of what Sukuna does, which we had revealed here. Then, if he's aware, that will break him down mentally to where he's then able to have even more, deals made. And Yuji will think that he'll be able to undo it in that minute. and he won't.
Yeah.
Because he'll bounce up against the Gios himself, and it'll be like, but I thought I had control of you. And then Sukuna can use that. Oh,
Yeah.
you thought you did.
Other thing that I want to point out is that even if it is just like, this is a one singular thing.
Sure. Just happens once. Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily have to use the minute all in the same time. He could just be like theoretically, could he just be like,
well, okay.
Oh, okay, maybe not. Maybe that doesn't work. You know.
I want to go back to the thing there, because what he said was, once I invoke this word, like it was a special word that he basically.
I have a minute of full control.
I have a minute of full control. Yeah. He talks about kind of the setup that we have here. Well, this was the word extension. Okay.
You'll hand over your body for 1 minute. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it is basically basically a thing of where it's vague enough that if he chants extension on a separate day, he gets it again for a minute.
Also, I gotta say, as soon as I heard the first category, you know, condition, I was like, oh my god, I need to see this in a D&D campaign. Can you imagine something where all of a sudden, warlock or something like that, some narrative thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, 1 minute.
Yeah.
A minute is a whole combat encounter, right? So all of a sudden just being able to be like,
full deal,
as a DM, you have a redeemable at any time you so choose, nope.
10 rounds of combat.
10 rounds of combat. I give you a super boost, and then I also, just take you over. Okay. Yeah. Like, there is so much that Sukuna could do in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And as they both get stronger, basically, over the course of time, this gets worse and worse. Now, if we hope beyond hope that this is a redeemable, one-time consumable thing, then this is much better for Yuji.
Yes.
But we do not know that yet. And we are left in the mystery regards to that for a good period of time. But this is something that I very much like, the idea that Sukuna's trying to also build up a little bit with regards to him. Like, being like, hey, we're in this for the long haul. And no, I don't want you to die. I'm totally fine if you die. But we can do quite a bit more before that time comes.
I can do a lot in a minute. And,
But this is the
no
other
problem for you.
The other line he drops here is a pact, a contract of mutual interest, basically. That's one of the key factors behind all jiu-jitsu. Then Gojo, at the later parts of the episode, starts telling him a lot of the aspects of basic jiu-jitsu.
Sure. Electricity versus appliances. I love that.
Right. And while techniques are something that are imprinted, at birth, those are things that you're not going to gain over the course of time necessarily. The difference is because he has Sukuna, he's going to gain access to the techniques that Sukuna has imprinted within him over the course of time.
Sure.
But that means then that there's something else that Gojo is not telling him, and that's this part here. The idea of signing basically the equivalent of contracts with curses for power that is essentially something that he already has a passive form of with Sukuna. No, sorry. A more active on-off form with Sukuna. Sukuna is like his transformation, if you will, where he can be like, when I transform into Sukuna, I gain all these things.
Right.
And the only negative is that he's the one calling the shots in that regard there.
Exactly.
But if we have all these other jiu-jitsu sorcerers who are either second years, third years, or just really strong like Gojo, did they all have to make some kind of special deal in some kind of special thing in order to use really strong aspects of cursed energy? I'm really excited for them to use Gojo's fight with this curse that's coming to attack him with the cursed prison, the prison device thing that he was given, as a way to showcase what high-level jiu-jitsu actually looks like here.
Yes, and just for the sake of, this prediction, I mean, Gojo's going to stop this guy.
Gojo will wreck this guy.
I'm sure he will have something that Gojo might not have seen coming, like the prison thing or whatever.
He's going to be like, ooh, that's a bit frustrating.
But he is going to get smashed.
Just obliterated.
One of the things that, and hey, I don't care about this curse. So I don't, the fact this is going to happen, awesome. But a little tip for you, my dude. If someone's like, hey, subtlety is important, and then you double down on the thing that they're reprimanding you about, and then they send you to go fight the strongest person in the world. Now, I know you're confident in your abilities.
Special thing to seal him, and you're like, no, I'll kill him.
I feel like you might just be being gotten rid of because maybe his plan will work better without you around. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he might use you for something. He might get something out of your sacrifice. But you are not long for this world.
Yeah, in some ways, this guy's probably already a little bit worried of, should I have actually given him that? Might have wanted to save that for someone else.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll
see.
If anything, I like that this guy is keeping his hands clean of all this by not directly engaging with Gojo.
And I really like the fact that the one guy from the restaurant or the cafe or whatever freaked out so much that he ran before everyone got torched to ash.
Yeah.
So if the show wanted to have some kind of investigation or information trail or anything like that, he could basically be like, because they don't see, he wouldn't see the curses, right? He just saw the dude. So he has the face in his head. He might be actively trying to forget it and put it out of his mind, but still, he has the info, right? So
if someone ever was like, hey, you know,
why did everyone in this cafe burn?
Well, the cafe itself
instantly?
probably burned down too.
No, I know, but it would have happened so fast that you would not expect that to even just be an accident. At the very least, it'd be foul play.
No. I disagree.
Oh, really?
I very much think that you could see a cafe burning down, kitchen appliances and all that stuff. It's very easy to have that kind of stuff happen.
No, having it burned down, totally. But when they look through everything, they'll probably be able to tell how quickly it happened.
Sure.
And how thoroughly and stuff. And that's probably something.
Depending on a couple things there. I'm with you. But I would say there is actually a very high likelihood that it's just chalked up to be an accident, because you don't always know when a fire goes out like that you can trace back exactly how it started.
Sure. And we don't know exactly what all of the different relationship dynamics are societally between jujutsu sorcerers and curses and stuff and regular human, just everyday life.
Firefighters dealing with stuff like this.
They might just be like, oh shit, well, at some point we weren't able to figure this one out, but okay. You know?
We can chalk it up under maybe this is what, like, that one fire back 6 years ago.
Right. Do we have a serial arsonist or something?
There's probably some kind of foul play, like you're saying.
Right.
But we have no way of determining, like, what kind of elements were used. It's a bit tricky to determine. But, I could very easily see the jujutsu sorcerers being like, oh, okay.
That's a
thing we'll look into. And not only that, we'll actually have a special group of people go in and look into that stuff. Yeah. I could very much see that being a thing where then it's that the guy is able to describe maybe the fact that he wore a specific cloak.
Oh, he had these weird, like, stitch things on his forehead, you know?
Right. Yeah. Very, very possible. And then that could lead to a whole other subplot there. But Gojo is kind of the tip of the spear for this side of the plot. From the way it's set up. He mentions that his dream is to reform in a dramatic fashion the upper echelons of Jujutsu society.
Cool.
Love it. It's very Suzaku from Code Geass kind of style.
Right.
He's in their society, but he cannot take an active, violent, dramatic upheaval in it with his power.
Because it wouldn't be effective.
Right.
He could do it, but it wouldn't achieve the result he wants.
Yeah, and no one would follow him. He would basically be outcasted as someone who, basically just went crazy.
Right.
And even if he had a good point, the fundamental aspects of Jujutsu Society that raise those people up to the top would just create new people that would do the same thing. And I like that he's thinking that long term, because then that means that he's basically saying that he's willing to die before his dream is realized.
Ah, gotcha.
The kids being educated to make this possible, most of them probably won't go into the upper echelons of Jujutsu Society, which means there's going to be a point where he's going to have his students at the top, and not all of them will be out in terms of his students kind of taking special key spots and what have you.
Sure, right. There were the ones specifically that he mentioned as, like, being super strong and stuff, but strength as a jujutsu sorcerer doesn't necessarily mean influence. Gojo being a great example.
Yeah.
He's the strongest, but apparently there are a bunch of people above him, and he really doesn't like the way they run things. But
Yeah.
you know, that's not his job.
Yeah. And it feels like it's the kind of thing of where, because Jujutsu sorcerers have to use cursed energy, and we see how casually this one sorcerer specifically talks with one curse with their two other ones nearby, there is a very awkward line between curses and Jujutsu sorcerers
Yes.
that is bled through quite regularly.
And the fact that that Gojo is talking about doing something as essentially morally questionable as just slaughtering all the people in upper echelons of Jujutsu society, that's something where even for Gojo, who I would
Even
say
for
I
Gojo.
trust pretty well, you know, he's still not necessarily like
Right.
a paragon.
No.
You know? Like
No.
like he granted he isn't killing those people, but that is something that he legitimately considered, and it wasn't because it was wrong or something like that, or he
because it
didn't
would
want to
be
kill
easy.
people, but because it wouldn't be effective. You know,
Right.
it's that wouldn't actually get me what I want, so I won't do that.
Right. But it's so easy to do that he has to think about it every once in a while, because he's
Yep.
like, okay,
'Cause
could
a
I
part of him wants
manipulate
to.
it in a specific. No, I really couldn't.
Yep.
So
and that's just showing that the line between, you know, Gojo and whoever this other dude is might not be as crazy as, you know, we would like to think.
because all Jujutsu sorcerers are somewhat crazy deep down. That's
Yes.
the point, is that all of them, in order to be willing to go through with all this, they need to be a little bit kooky. Just a little bit. And we get to see a little bit of that in the interactions that Fushiguro has with the other second years.
Yes.
And well, the second years in general, and then of course Nobara being involved with them as well. So Panda's precious, wonderful, love him so
Excellent.
much. But the idea that they're bringing up the idea that there's a the event, the big thing that's coming up,
the tournament arc.
tournament, yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
in what, 6 weeks, I think it was.
I believe that is what they said.
Yeah, like a couple months at most.
Mhm.
And before that, they need to get prepped up and ready to be actually capable of, you know, participating in a serious way. And they have their own goofy ways of, you know, training, which is fun. But I liked the idea of Fushiguro having this subplot of development in terms of his power.
Could I get to the point where I could actually take on a special grade cursed object?
Right. Sukuna noticing that there was
Curse.
some kind of thing that he was channeling
Mhm.
that made him more exciting in terms of power potential. Then also having the idea brought up of a technique that would be using stuff that is stored in cursed spirits, basically, in curses. Having items that would be, oh, I'm going to store this in the actual, you know, cursed spirit itself. And they're like, yeah, but that's rare. And given what we were told by Gojo, techniques are not something you learn. They are something that are imprinted upon you. So you need to either evolve an existing technique or just find an aspect of it that is not currently being utilized.
And I will say, while the thing that Gojo brought up of like the 80% of it is natural talent versus
learned
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
there was a part of me that was like, oh, okay, all right, that's too bad, because I generally am not as big of a fan of the sort of natural talent kind of approach to just, you know, fantasy stories and power systems and things like that, because I feel like the hard work is a lot more interesting.
Yeah, but it's less realistic in a lot of ways. That's kind of the fantasy of the system, is that anyone can be, you know, the strongest ever. But in terms of like a sports instance, like that's kind of, I would say, how it is, you know?
I would say that's debatable, but
yeah, of course it's debatable.
But one of the things that I like, though, that I thought about after that was that no, that then changes the scope of what it's about.
Mhm.
It's not about changing yourself in order to become the strong thing.
Right.
It's about understanding yourself and where your strengths lie.
Yeah.
That I think is pretty cool. And the fact
Sure.
that it's not just like strengths as far as like how strong are you, but like literally the things that you could do that maybe no one else in this world has ever done before.
Right.
But you actually could, and you just need to actually look closely and see what those are.
Yeah, and Fushiguro is going to be the non-Sukuna version of that in the immediate sense, because he already has cursed techniques, basically. He uses his doggos, his bird, his frog, the snake. Quite effectively. But the idea of, oh, wait a minute, maybe I could use some of them to carry some kind of, you know, objects, weapons, if you will.
Oh,
because
sure.
items are not techniques.
Nope.
Those are just things that have been imbued with cursed energy or something like that in order to be able to be effective.
Unless it's something you actually created with cursed energy or something. Nope.
Yeah. I mean, just like having a hammer.
Right.
Hammer and nails, you know?
Yep.
Having that glaive weapon that Zenin uses. You know,
I'm very excited to see her fight with that.
Yeah, exactly. I very much like the idea of maybe them having a bit of a cap in terms of their gained power through training. But if they can gain actual physical strength with regards to acumen regarding how they use martial arts, then adding in items with regards to that provides potentially a new type of scaling.
Yes. Yeah.
That's rarely done in typical shonen. Items usually aren't an actual part of the power scaling.
Right. And if they are, they're
pretty much nothing.
They're used at like the very beginning when the person doesn't really have any actual abilities and then they're kind of left behind.
True.
And now granted, I don't really see Gojo using items, you know?
True. He might be the point of where it's like, you don't need no items.
I myself am such a weapon that I do not need them. But, you know, who knows? He could have some things we don't know about. Maybe
someone needs an item potentially in order to take him out, though. Just bringing that up.
That is true.
That is a cursed item that was specifically like, hey, this is the ceiling kind of item. We're going to take this and just lock him away. It might be something that he eventually just breaks out of because he's so strong. But, hey, if it works, that means that we know he can be sealed if something is just a little bit stronger.
And prediction, if he ever does get locked up and sealed away and he busts out, he will emerge just like in the ED.
Oh, sure.
He will be dancing his way out with a smile on his face while everyone else is shitting themselves. And then it's just going to be like, okay.
Oh, man. But goofiness in this episode with the training with Gojo and Yuji.
Am I going to get a spirit gun or a bankai? Or a kamehameha?
This show has multiple times just broken the fourth wall and just been like, yeah, all those anime are real things.
Right.
Jennifer Lawrence? Yeah, I love Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. No, it's not breaking the fourth wall. They're just in the modern world.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's
of course.
So naturally they talk about that stuff.
I just love that he's so depressed because he's like, oh my god, I'm going to be able to use powers and stuff.
And then he's just paper, you know, just like,
oh,
okay.
Oh, well,
right,
I guess
see.
I'm never going to get really stronger. I'm not going to actually get techniques and stuff.
Yeah.
But the idea that Sukuna's curse techniques will be engraved into your body. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. But the training he's going to go on with the little conjured puppet animal that I think was from the principal specifically.
Yep. Yeah, they mentioned that.
Yeah, and then watching a bunch of movies. And he's like, no, you have to make sure you don't react. Stay even keel. I'm like, what is this? What is this, Jacob?
I love it. I love it so much.
Would we be either the best at this or horrible at this?
I think we'd be pretty damn good at this because we've gone through so much stuff that I feel like
nothing would surprise us anymore.
Not that stuff wouldn't surprise us, but that I feel like our stamina would be pretty good as far as going through a lot of it and still maintaining that energy. Because one of the things that he brought up is, and I love this, is hey, cursed energy is drawn from negative emotions, but this is a big but. No, you don't want to just be a frothing lunatic all the time because then you burn out, right?
Yeah.
So because then it's again it takes things inward into the person, where it's the acknowledging of the negative sides of yourself, but then bringing mastery and control to them, and that's where you actually become powerful.
That's where this stuff could get actually really deeply personal and intimate, is the idea that in order to even strike a person in martial arts, I'm sure there's got to be that little bit of aggression, that little bit of desire desire to inflict damage. That's not something that everyone thinks about on a consistent daily basis. So you have to channel a little bit of emotion into that.
Probably, yeah.
Which then ties back into the idea that I was saying earlier, that this is ultimately a soul energy kind of power system.
Sure.
And emotion being negative specifically means that there has to be something theoretically tied to emotions as in general. Like, why is it negative emotion? Like, why is it specifically that it is emotion and not will? Like, there's some things there. And given that we know that rampant negative emotions bring about curses and attract them.
Yeah. There's some things I could get into there.
Oh, nice little snake.
And lastly, for me, just the fact that the cursed doll, it is literally there to just bug the shit out of him while he's trying to watch a movie, whether it's a good movie or a bad movie. The whole thing of the movie that he was watching and the cutting of the wire and the oh my god, the super cliche dialogue, and then the I always thought this. Why are you going into a story about personal history when there's 3 minutes left till a bomb goes off?
Arbitrary,
the decision had nothing to do on any kind of logic or anything like that. It's just no. Let's go for this one. Okay, all right, sure. But then it just punches him right upside the head, right as the person's about to cut the wire. That would piss me off so much, even if I wasn't really that into the movie, right? Like, oh, man.
Which means at that moment, Yuji was actually getting so sucked into the movie that he was feeling the dramatic tension of the wire about to be cut and lost a little bit of control, and then the thing punched him, man. Which is just so funny. That means that he's probably watched so much shit at this point that he's like, yeah, I guess even this dumbass movie actually got a rise out of me.
Draw emotions from an abundance of sources, you know?
True.
It doesn't.
True.
This might
go
feel
off
like
on a tangent.
This is gonna feel like a weird tangent.
No, I know where you're going. Yeah.
So, you can draw enjoyment from a wide variety of anime.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
What do you know?
It doesn't always have to be the super masterclass, masterpiece, oh my god, I bawled my eyes out watching Anohana. That's great.
Or I nutted so hard at that animation or whatever.
Right, that can be fantastic. But there is also a special kind of enjoyment that can come from when you're watching that B movie. Not the B movie, but the movie that's just you really know it's not that great. And I feel like more people.
Girlfriend, lover.
Hey, that is my personal favorite place to start.
Trash may not smell good, but it is a strong smell sometimes.
It is a strong smell. And if you find something in the trash that is not trash, then it's even more of a surprise, right? You don't want to become the snooty person going to the expensive restaurant. It's like, what's this? My food is only a 4.8 star. What are you talking about?
Sometimes you don't want to go to an expensive restaurant.
Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you want the goddamn bullet train to bring you your sushi.
Yep.
Because it's a bullet train.
Yep.
Yep.
And
that's okay.
So, next episode, Gojo gonna fight.
Yeah. Both of us to assume that it will be anything like a fight.
I think it will actually be a fight, though.
You could technically call Sukuna versus Yuji a fight, but, let's be real.
No. I'm saying that, Gojo versus this curse will be an actual fight.
I also think it will be an actual fight.
That's why he basically stopped the car and was like, I need you to go on ahead.
Right.
Basically saying, if you stay here, you will die.
Yes.
So even though that guy
Casually
is scared
saving
as
your
hell
life.
of Gojo because he's like, I don't know what this guy...
He randomly talks about killing all the superiors,
And I just have to go along with it, be like, yep. It's fine. And then the way he's like, stop the car. He's like, are you testing me? He's like, go. And he's like, oh, okay. I love the way they respond to him. But the fact that he can transition so abruptly into serious mode.
Yep.
Where I don't think he was doing this because he was nervous about himself or his own safety. But because he was like, this is something I'll have to take very seriously, which means I cannot protect you.
Right.
So I need you to leave.
Yeah, it feels very much like it's the... Because Gojo's at the top as far as jiu-jitsu sorcerers and strength, right? He's constantly sent on the most dangerous missions.
Yep.
So serious for him is completely different than serious for other people.
Totally.
And he does not usually seem like a serious person, but the kinds of things that he might deal with in a way that from the outside would appear casual is actually him being serious.
Right. So here we go. So y'all, if you want to see that next episode's reaction discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.